What's going on, YouTube squad? Welcome back to another whiteboard lesson.
So in today's lesson, we are going to be talking about all things, as you can see, hormones, metabolism, and we have some new handy dandy mics that we are bringing to you live. So
A little clunky.
A little clunky.
All right, we're gonna get right into it. So in most cases, right, when we are struggling to lose weight, almost forgot the I there, it is because we are over consuming calories.
So we know this to be true, right? We all have probably heard this. If you've tried to lose weight in the past, we must be in a caloric deficit. But what happens if you're deep into a caloric deficit, you're consistent with it, and you're still not seeing results?
Now, in most cases, you're gonna want to decrease your calories further, and you're going to want to increase the amount of exercise that you are doing. But there are many cases where you have been doing that for so long that your body has become a lot less efficient at burning calories, and now suddenly the calories that you used to consume, or that should be your calorie deficit calories, are no longer working in the way that they really should be. So we're gonna talk about why that is. And again, in most cases, I think a lot of other people and experts in the health and fitness space would just say you're over consuming calories still.
And what Audrey's gonna draw up here in a second, you guys will see it shortly, is we're gonna bring you guys through the process of why potentially in some cases, calories in, calories out, pulling your food lower and doing more activity is actually going to go against you.
You got the hypothalamus, right? And there's some other pieces that go into this, but way up at the top here, we have the hypothalamus, right? Now, the hypothalamus goes down to the adrenals. We got the pituitary somewhere in here.
And what Audrey's gonna draw off to the left here, adrenals can also affect our gut over here too.
Now, we branch this out. Now we've got the thyroid. Most of you guys, when you think of your metabolism, you might think of, okay, yeah, my thyroid might be a little bit sluggish. That's why I have a hard time losing weight. Maybe there's thyroid issues in your family. And then we branch this even out further. I'm sorry, these arrows go this way. Because we branch these out further. And now we've got your insulin and your glucose levels. And then over here, we have
The liver.
very important, the liver king. Now we take that down a step further.
And what this is gonna come into right here is gonna be all of our cells. We're gonna draw some very professional looking cells here. And then these cells represent your metabolism as a whole. So before we start getting into how everything's gonna impact your body here, you can see that your metabolism is comprised of a lot more than you probably thought, right? Because when we first hear metabolism, we think how much our body can withstand, how much food we can eat and not put weight on, how fast it is and how lean we're able to stay. But there are so many more things happening that equate to having a healthy or downregulated metabolism here.
When we look at this picture as a whole, right, again, we know that there's a lot of other pieces to the puzzle. If we have adrenal issues, our adrenals can be impacting our gut. I've actually experienced that firsthand, it sucks. If we have adrenal issues, it's going to impact our ability to synthesize and produce our sex hormones. Our sex hormones play a role ultimately in our thyroid and our metabolism, right? And then it kind of just trickles down here. So same thing, if we have insulin resistance, we can struggle to lose weight. We can see a lot more inflammation. And same thing goes for the liver, right? If our liver is not properly doing its job, then we can have a lot of inflammation in the body, and ultimately it is going to impact our thyroid.
So like Audrey said, there's a lot of functions that are going on here that are impacting each other. Mm-hmm. And the common issues that we see nowadays, just as an example, people think they might have gut health issues. I chatted with somebody yesterday just because it's top of mind. 22-year-old girl, gut health issues, always bloats, painful distension. However, she went into her doctors, they ran GI maps, they ran tests, no bacteria, nothing going on there. But she tells me I'm waking up every morning and I'm exhausted, I have no energy. And as we can see, we're trying to solve a symptom when we don't realize the root oftentimes is something else that could be impacting that system. Mm-hmm. So in most cases, it might not just be that one little thing. That's why when we're looking at the metabolism, we have to look at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. And when we're looking at specifics when it comes to symptom management as well, not just even going beyond fat loss, you have to also look at some of these things, right? If you are just looking at things automatically and not systematically in the way that the body functions, then you're going to run into a lot of frustrations because you could still be missing the bigger piece here. And that's ultimately what we wanted to share with you guys, is that yes, in most cases, you might be over consuming calories and you're struggling to lose weight, right? But after so long of restriction and over exercising, you can run into, and one of the worst things you can do for your hormones is chronic restriction and yo-yo dieting.
Yep. And that's probably the biggest issue that a lot of people, and we work with predominantly women, run into, is because majority of the problems that happen within here that affect the metabolism come from people restrictive dieting, come from constant cycles of losing the weight in a very drastic manner and then it coming back on a few months, a few years later, and then trying to diet again. And every time you do that, these get worse and worse and worse. And if you don't address them, you're gonna get to a point in your life, and you might even be at this point in your life where you're like, God damn it, I can't get a lick of body fat off, and I feel like I am doing more work and putting in more effort than I ever have before.
And that's ultimately not a way to live. You want a body that starts to work for you rather than against you. And while there are some people that might be genetically blessed with just a better metabolism, don't accept the fact that your whole family is overweight, so you're just going to be overweight. That doesn't have to be the case. You can absolutely work towards optimal health so that you can live in a body that you feel comfortable in and live in a body that is really optimized. You just have to look at it past the point of just calories in and calories out. And sometimes what can happen is you have an issue already before you even go into dieting because of our environment and the stressors in our life. Then you diet, and then you just make this worse. Well, you make this worse, you gain more weight, then you just try and diet harder. It is this constant perpetual cycle that is just really unhealthy in the end and causes a lot of inflammation.
Yep, so like we said, we wanted to just keep things very high level for you guys today to give you an understanding so you can start to connect some dots. If you're somebody who might fall into one of these cases, and what you can expect from us in future videos is we'll start to link the dots, right? Of how some things are being affected here and how you can potentially start to cure them and start to work through them and protocol yourself to get healthy again.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in on today's video. We will catch you guys in the next whiteboard lesson.
Peace.